Hello there, this is Off the Press, where we bring you the major headlines from the national dailies. I am, again, Amaka Okoye. And with me here in the studio to analyze this headline and dissect all of this issue is social commentator Abayomi Oke Asiwaju.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for coming this morning
Thank you for having me too.
to have this conversation and dissect all the issues making the headlines. So we shall hit the ground running and begin with the Punch newspaper. And from the front page, we see government suit can't stop our operations, NFIU saying that. And then they say we are dealing with banks, not with government. Agencies plans to stop foreign exchange cash transactions. Still on the front page, we have picture stories here of traders protest auction of 4 million naira goods by customs. This is on page 39, and the pictures there are quite disturbing, so to speak. We also have court summons AGF, EFCC over Yaris asset case. That's on page 40. EFCC quizzes Kwara official and others over property fraud on page 39. And kidnappers abduct members sent to deliver ransom. That's Khan saying, pages 4 and 5 of this newspaper. And gunmen kill 2 policemen. Kidnapped the CMD in Edo State. Another story there on page 5. So, Abayomi, which one do you want to speak to?
Okay.
Or which one speaks to you?
All right. Let's start with the traders that are protesting.
Okay, the picture story here.
Yeah, the auction of their 4 million naira worth of goods by customs. All right. The news has it that customs actually impounded their goods. That's guess what the goods are?
Tomatoes.
Pepper.
Perishables.
Of course. Look at these women here. They are pepper sellers. I don't know how it's, I'm not sure. Of course, we've not heard from customs, but I'm not sure these goods were actually imported goods or goods that are contraband, kind of, for customs to have, impounded in the first place. And the next thing they found out is that customs started auctioning these goods. I think, like I said, we've not heard from customs. We don't know the true picture or their own side of the story. But from what we've heard from these women, I think it's unfair to them. The issue of insecurity that we have in Nigeria today is because of things like this. We don't pay attention to the younger generation, and we don't pay attention to the older generation. Now, when a young person sees that if I grow old, Nigeria does not care about me, it tends to look for another means of acquiring wealth, which may be, of course, not going by the books or going by the laws. And of course, when you don't pay attention to the young people too, then you find the case of the FBI, the issue of our fraudsters, the fraudsters case in
but that's not in any way justifying fraudulent activities.
I understand, but of course, where there is a proper structure in place to take care of the younger generation and even the older folks. Look at these women. Of course, they are not working in a bank. They are not doing the good jobs that we can talk about. Many are jobs. Why would you bring such a pain to them? They had to move from Ijon, because it happened in my state, Ogun State. They had to move from their village to Abeokuta to protest this. After finding out, they started selling a tomato basket worth of 2,000 naira for 200 naira. That is quite disheartening. Because
even here it says the goods are worth 4 million naira, and they've all been auctioned. That's a sad story. There you find this on the first page. And then what are your thoughts? Again, they said court vacation delays Elza Zaki's second medical trip. This time he's supposed to go to Turkey.
Well, that's is a normal procedure. If court is on vacation, nothing can be done until the court resumes, and then all proceedings can resume as well.
We hope that happens. Again, we have a sad story here of a gunman killed 2 policemen. Please find that on page 5. And then 21 Ibadan kings prostrate for Olubadan on birthday. Is there a problem with prostrating with it? Why is this a story?
Let me give you a background to that story.
Okay, please.
In 2017, the former governor of your state elevated the status of some high chiefs in Ibadan to become a king. And of course, it comes with so many controversy that the Olubadan of Ibadan, that is the paramount ruler, said, this subjects of mine don't deserve to become kings now. But of course, the government institution, that is the governor now, made them kings. However, there has been issue with a case in court, and all that. So,
but just by way of asking, does the governor have the power to do that if it's traditional matters?
Yes, okay. yes. Because even in we have a Ministry of Local Government and Shifted Estate Titles now in the states. So, of course, any king that wants to come on the throne is who hands over the staff to the king is the governor. Though there is a fundamental problem with that, but we can't touch that. It's already going on. So, the new governor, Seyi Makinde, he wants to resolve the case, bring it out of court, and what we just saw now, I think yesterday, is a sign that the case is being resolved, because these kings now came to the palace without their beaded crowns, showing that they're actually kings, and prostrated for Olubadan, which shows that we are back our king, probably as high chiefs now. Then if you so wish that we should become kings under you can, you know,
so
do so.
Some show of allegiance there and paying homage. Oh, okay. So Buhari government wants to frame Obasanjo. Atiku alleges this on page 19, and the NLC plans nationwide rallies summit over insecurity. Yes, there have been quite issues of insecurity in this country. What are your thoughts?
Yes, just like I mentioned earlier on, NLC planning nationwide strike or nationwide rally or summit is not the solution. Let's see how we can, because
but that can be pointing a torchlight to situation, can't it?
Check all the summits that we've had. Check all the talk shows. Let me put it that way, that we've had over security matters. Has any of those talk show or summits resolved the issue? I think we should find out the root causes of all these things. I was robbed recently, and somebody said, Asiwaju, because they know me as a youth development crusader, and they said, Asiwaju, the youth that you are advocating for, they are the ones who now in turn robbed you. I said, that's the irony of life anyway. And I said, that simply means I shouldn't stop empowering the youth. I shouldn't stop taking care of the youth. I shouldn't stop catering for their needs. We should look at how we can engage them resourcefully, how we can, you know, by the time you think about me, by the time you come with if a young person come with an idea and says, oh, this is my idea, and it's encouraged by an older folk, you are, one way or the other, you've already created another source of, you know, engagement for this youth. So that person will not get involved in crime and all that. So I think Nigerian government needs to pay attention to our youth. With that, of course, there will be a reduced rate of insecurity.
Okay, so that's a Punch newspaper there. And on back page is Ekweremadu at a crossroad. That's some opinion poll by Tayo. Okay, please grab yourself Punch newspaper and find out what that is about. Now, the second newspaper we have here is The Nation newspaper. And front page says, federal government joins forces with U.S. to track FBI 77 suspects. That's the big story here. And then police recover over 40 million goods in Ibadan. You find that on page 5. My son-in-law gave Obasanjo library 50 million naira, says Atiku. Ibadan Obas pay homage to Olubadan. That's just what you've explained and given a background to why that happened. And NLC seeks immediate payment of new wage. I don't dictate to judiciary, says Buhari. Find that on page 10. Equities open week with 52 billion naira loss on page 39, some business news there. And Ogun eases anchor borrowers loan. That's on page 11 as displayed on your screen there. Now, what are your thoughts on the whole issue of the federal government wanting to join forces now with FBI to track the suspects?
This is not the first time federal government through EFCC will be partnering with FBI to track fraudsters in Nigeria. I think there was an operation Wire some time ago that they collaborated. But because this seemed to be on a larger scale, you know, having more than 60 Nigerians on the FBI list, you know, so it's kind of mind-troubling. And of course, I would want EFCC, of course, to look into it. And one of the ways to curb crime again is when you bring people to justice. Now, it sends a signal to others who may want to
do the same.
You know, you said something earlier on that the fact that the economy is not good is not a reason for somebody to say wants to involve in criminal activities. Of course, that is true. But by the time we begin to see that, okay, people who perpetrated crime and all sorts are brought to book, you know, it will send signal to those who are planning that, of course, if I should do this, then I would definitely be caught and justice will take its place. So let EFCC do the right thing with FBI. Of course, FBI, they have the right tools to nab anybody wherever they are. So it's EFCC that needs to partner with FBI to ensure that these guys are...
Still on that matter, by the way, as a Nigerian, how do you feel? You know, this whole story of Nigerians, the 77 suspects, you know, they've all... Every Nigerian is now being looked at as one fraudster or the other, so to speak, if I may use that loosely. That even our government, you know, the press statement has been released to say, you know what, these are a few bad eggs. How do you respond? How do you...
Fine. I stand with Nigeria on this, that these are few bad eggs.
You stand with Nigeria on this.
Yes, I stand with Nigerian government on this. It looks
like there are some others you don't stand with us, but anyway,
it's true, because I rather propagate the good stories that you know, emanate from our country than these ones. That's not to say that we are happy that this actually happened, but of course we can't continue to amplify this. Let's tone down on it and let's amplify the good stories that are emanating from Nigeria. We have great young people that are doing greater stuff in Nigeria that we should be talking about.
And outside of Nigeria.
And outside of Nigeria as well, that we should even use as yardstick to encourage other younger people who may want to, you know, take them up as role models. So I would just like to, you know, talk down on this so that I won't give it unnecessary headline and publicity.
All right. You said Atiku says my son-in-law gave Obasanjo Library 50 million.
Yes.
Why do we need to know about this?
Okay. EFCC checked on Obasanjo's library. They said they traced 50 million naira to one of the officials of Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library in Abeokuta. And the article is now saying that truly 50 million naira was donated to the library. And it is legit, put it that way. It's legit. It was done through a bank transfer. So it's not a proceed from any form of illegal transaction that you may want to think of. So government should just be careful. I think they are trying to, that's article talking now in another paper, they are taking the Punch, saying that government just want to, you know, label Obasanjo and probably silence him so that I won't criticize this government.
So he's coming out to say this is clean, yeah? It's a donation.
Clean, exactly.
Okay, so what are your thoughts here? The police recover 40 million naira goods in Ibadan. And some people have asked, where do these goods go to after being recovered even?
That's a question we should ask the police, the police force, that where do these goods probably they are returned back. Of course, you know, I shared a story with you now that I said I was robbed. I've reported the case. Now, if police nab these criminals anywhere they find them, it could be in Maiduguri, at least they should be able to trace. There should be a database where probably they can find out that, oh, this good that we we've just seen from these robbers can be traced to Asiwaju. Okay, this is Asiwaju's good that was stolen sometimes ago. Probably they have a record base or a database where it has been. So then they should bring it back to me. That would bring joy to me, and I know that probably later on we just find out that it will be hushed on just like the custom case.
Hopefully that will not be the case.
Then
so
Ogun is his Anchor Borrowers Loan. Yes, the governor of Ogun State, Prince Dr. Dapo Abiodun, promised that 10,000 youths will be given plots of land to farm, and will be aided. They will be given soft loans at a one-digit interest rate. And just yesterday, he was able to set up a committee to facilitate that. So there is a job portal, or that was sometimes I think it was last 2 weeks or so, commissioned by the governor, where job seekers, young people can go and register their details, and then the government will now match their records with that of an employer who seeks a skill gap, or who seeks an employee in his or her own firm. So the same portal is what government is now using also for people who, for young people, for youths who want to benefit from this agric loan or agric soft loan, to apply as well. So I think it's a good one, engaging the youths, giving them a reason to believe in their country and empowering them.
So still on that agriculture, some people have said, that not so many young people want to get into agriculture. Do you think this is a way of making it look enticing or good enough to involve young people in the agri sector?
Yes, because we do not talk much about agriculture, because we are not talking about millionaires that have emerged from agriculture. That's why so many young people are not interested in agriculture. You see a lot of young people are interested in entertainment than agriculture. I hope you know that.
Oh, really?
Because it brings them to limelight. So? It brings them to limelight. Everybody wants to be a celeb. They want to be seen on TV and all that. But of course, there are so many young people. Even before this, the Hancock Borrowers loan came into limelight, a lot of young people have approached me and said, Asiwaju, I'm into farming. I want, in case the government wants to do this. I said, fantastic. We have a Federal University of Agriculture in Abeokuta, churning out graduates every year. Are you saying those ones will not be interested in this kind of loan? We have quite a number of them. And farming is, agric is wide. You know, fish farming, crop farming, so many, and you just you'll be amazed by the time this scheme kicks off, and you see the number of people that will apply for it, and it's a good thing for us, and of course I see a future in it. You
see a future in it. That sounds good to me too. All right, so here, back page of The Nation, we say it's another thought. Weep not for Adebayo Shitu. So you find his thoughts on the back page of The Nation newspaper, and find out why he's asking you not to weep for him. That's the back page. It's on the back page of The Nation newspaper. And the next paper up for review is This Day. NNPC oil output rises to 2.2 million per barrel despite sabotage. You find that on the front page, continued on page 6. And stakeholders rally behind CBN's push to tighten noose on bank loan defaulters. You find that on the first page also of this newspaper. New credit risk clause to facilitate recovery from borrowers' verifiable assets. Lender to recover loans from defaulters' accounts domiciled in any bank. And Apex Bank warns against fraudulent loan offers. Are there usually, can somebody fall for fraudulent loan offers?
Yes, of course.
You believe that this is genuine, and then you don't get it, or you get it, or you have to repay?
There are several cases. There may be a case of you applying. They come to you and say you have to fill a form, you have to register, you have to, you know, there must be a commitment from you financially at the end of the day.
Before you get a loan?
Yes, of course, before you get the loan. But normally, loans, you don't get a loan from a bank you don't operate with now for us.
Yeah.
So there must be a certain level of commitment from you. So there are some, I don't know, should we call them upcoming banks, you know, kind of that are approaching people to say, we'll give you loans, but come and have this deposit with us. Then at the end of the day, we can give you this loan. So after having that deposit, they may eventually not even give you the loan.
So the Apex Bank is sending out a warning there to know that such things are happening. Then the FIRS eyes 1.3 trillion naira quarterly from VAT on online transactions. There's been conversation of the VAT. There will be soon be VAT tax.
From 2020.
Yes, on the transaction. How do you respond to that, even both domestic and international online transactions?
Yeah, I think there is. I read it in one of the news where the finance minister said we should talk more about revenue for the country than debt. So I think government is just exploring so many other options where they can generate more revenue. And of course, if you realize that so many transactions are currently being done online.
That's true. Correct.
In fact, the amount of money that's been, you know, that are exchanging hands or exchanging hands now that has been exchanged.
Digital prints, they just move in and out.
Yeah, so it's quite on the high side. So if VAT is introduced to online transactions, yes, revenue will come in. But most importantly, let the government judiciously spend this revenue. Let us see the impact on the lives of Nigerians. That's the most important. It's not about making the money, you know, imposing taxes, levies on us as Nigerians. We want to see the ripple effect on our lifestyle. Let it reflect on it. Let people from other countries say, oh, this is a Nigerian, this guy is rich because the country is actually rich.
But then there are also arguments that the whole online transactions is still a new concept, so to speak. And if you introduce so much heavy VAT on it, that is going to discourage people who are still learning to, you know, be conversant with online transactions. I don't think it's... And not all people also going to that.
I don't think so. Take, for example, if you are doing banking transactions now, these are my USSD codes, even internet banking.
Yeah.
The banks they take their charges from
That's
it,
correct.
but we find it convenient. You know, I sit at the comfort of my house, I make payments, you know, it's convenient than going out there, crossing the roads, and so whatever is coming, whatever they are taking from me is, you know, is quite minute compared to the risk involving me going out there to do the transaction over the counter and all that. So yes, we are growing, we are coming up. I mean, online transaction. VAT on online transaction shouldn't be something that we should bother ourselves about. So
come 2020, we are in for it.
Yeah.
All right, EFCC directs operatives to track down FBI indicted Nigerians. So the same matter that, you know, how EFCC is trying to work hand in hand to be able to track these people engaged in fraudulent activities. We just hope that they stop marring our image, you know, as Nigerians, because that conversation has gone on and on. And even on the back page of this day newspaper, we find the same thing: FBI, Nigerian fraudsters, and other stories. This is something written here by Malam Ibrahim Magu, who is the acting chairman of EFCC. So you find that on the back page of this day newspaper. Please grab a copy for yourself and find out what all of that conversation is about. And then I think we have just here now the last paper, which is the Vanguard. The Vanguard front page says, banks will seize debtors' funds to repay loans. That's the big story here. And then you find it on page 49. Debtors' deposits in other banks now to be used to service loans. Here also we see CBN ends credits to firms, individuals without TIN and BVN. That's a very serious one, isn't it? You find it on page 19. Boko Haram not defeated. Bruno Indiges writes Buhari.
Of course, they are on ground.
But we always hear the government, you know, we always hear the army say we have squashed Boko Haram, we have taken out
not entirely.
The terrorists.
Not entirely, because recently we still had an airstrike. You know, so you can't be striking a land that is that's probably without inhabitants. So that simply means they are still on ground. The Boko Haram guys, they are still on ground. So, and of course, for people who live there, they encounter them daily. So they can actually give us the exact, you know, probably high witness report, as the case may be.
All right. Many feared missing as boats with over 100 persons capsizes in Calabar. That story, you find it on page 7. And then Ondo APC, eight injured as thugs evade meeting. That's on page 48. How insecurity worsened around Enugu environs. You find that on page 15 of the Vanguard. And gunmen killed 2 policemen. What's this about? Kidnapped CMD of Specialist Hospital in Edo State.
Yes, the chief medical director of that hospital in Edo State, it was, I think, it was with his wife in that vehicle, according to the report. And I think there was a day we were traveling along, we were going to Edo State, Auchi to be precise, and my colleague said, why not let's get an escort, a police, a mopo to sit at the front because of the, you know, the security challenges on that route.
Really?
And I said, because I just want to make reference to what happened, I said, bros, if these people want to attack us, the first person that will flee is the mobile policeman. Now, this CMD, the man in question now, has 2 gunmen. I mean, has 2 policemen in his vehicle, and that is still deter this gunmen from attacking the vehicle. So, what's the point? I think we should just deal with the root of this insecurity than touching the surface.
Is this not worrying? Is that looking like a target on policemen or security agents? Because, I mean, if this would happen, like you said, how safe are we?
The point is, if a criminal wants to attack you, he looks at the person who may possibly attack him back. And, you know, he first decapacitates such person before he gets wounded by such person. So that's exactly, it's just unfortunate for the policemen. You know, that's an hazard on the duty.
Indeed. And then there is here a picture story of Buhari in Japan. Of course, the president is in Japan. By the way, if I may ask you, what are your thoughts on this travel for bilateral relations in Japan, between Japan and Nigeria, of the president?
On a lighter note, let me say that they should allow the president to travel as much as he wants to.
Why did you say
All
so?
right, that's just on a lighter note anyway. But for real, just like somebody opined recently said, why the president should leave, bilateral relations to his aides. I mean, you have an ambassador, you have a special advisor, you have, you have ambassadors, you have a minister for foreign affairs. Let them relate with these people as regards things that has to do with bilateral relationship. And let Mr. President talk to us more at home. We need him more at home. There are so many pressing issues that are happening at home that, demands his attention. We want to have him back at home.
So you'd rather the president be at home and leave the movements to his aid?
Honestly.
All right, and that's it for Vanguard. And then on the back page of Vanguard, we have the sports news, which says Iwobi banks on Everton coach to transform career. You find that on the back page of Vanguard. And also on the complete sports, the same thing. We have Iwobi, again, targets, goals, assists for Everton. Meet Ansu Fati, Barcelona's €1 million kid, whatever that means. Please find out for yourself on the complete sports. Are you a sports fan?
No, I'm one of the few guys who don't watch football.
Oh, okay. So because on that note now, we'll say thank you very much for being with me this morning on Off the Press, the show where we bring you the national headlines of the national dailies and dissect issue. And thank you so very much, Asiwaju, for being here, social commentator. And that's it on Off the Press. We'll do this again tomorrow, same time, and here on Plus TV Africa. I am Amaka Okoye.